Hello Airsofters, this is a video for a JG G36 gearbox. Teach you guys how to disassemble it. Okay, first things you'll need would be a screwdriver and some pliers. First you want to do is take off this clip, slide thing. Should be kind of easy. You might need the pliers, that's why I grabbed them. Mine's easy for some reason now. Next, you want to undo all the screws. There's another screw right here, but mine doesn't have it. Careful, don't lose the spring. This is the safety, by the way, if you're wondering what the hell it is. Next is another screw right there, but I fouled that off. I'll make another video about that later for reasons why I did it. Oh yeah, take this little black thing off. It's kind of worthless, I guess. The two motor screws are different. They're flat. They're still Phillips heads. Just be aware of that. Motor should just come off, unplug it, throw it to the side. Okay, now it's for the fun part, time to actually open it. Okay, first, for this part, just get your screwdriver, slightly open it a little bit, barely anything. Make sure your springs are set, by the way, I guess mine wasn't. And then, slide that off too. Slowly pull it up a little bit. Get a screwdriver, push it into the spring guide. And try and pop it out carefully without breaking anything. The stock one's a metal piece of shit. This is my Modify rotary some bullshit. Take off the top part. Spring. Piston. Can't remember what it was. Whatever. Think about it later. That just comes off. Air nozzles right here. Trigger and metal second trigger thing. Bevel gear. Anti-reversal latch and spring. Do not lose these. What is this? Sector gear, I believe. Spur gear. Then some bushings, just they can just stay in. You don't really need to take them out unless you're replacing them. The next is a spring right here for the tablet plate. By the way, you shouldn't really need to go this far unless your trigger assembly is broken. You really just need to take out the gears. And this is a tablet plate and a spring. Don't lose this. This is the bigger spring, by the way. There's a smaller one for the trigger connector thing, which is right here. Pushes in. This metal piece connects to current to give the motor the charge. Then the smaller spring. And this is just loose in there. Ignore my crappy soldering job. Okay, time to put it back together. This is the fun part. First, get that small spring. Put it on the little hook. Line it up. Do a little pillar right there. And inside the trigger housing. Slide it all on. And push this back down. Push it forward a little bit, make sure it works. Oh, and if you have to pull your trigger back really far, there's two metal prongs in there. Just pinch them a little bit closer together. Okay, next, you want to get, what the hell is this thing called? Whatever. Get the air nozzle, tablet plate. Oh, cylinder head. Put all this stuff together, slide it on. Get your bigger spring. Put this in on the hook. I recommend putting your piston in the cylinder too, just makes your life easier later on. There's a pillar right here. Line up the spring with it. Ah, shit. Fuck it. This is why I do not recommend going this far into the gearbox. Just do the gears and the cylinder, not the whole trigger assembly. Just two springs are a pain in the ass. Sometimes this ram may come undone on you too while you're trying to put it back together, so you have to restart from the very beginning. Make sure your piston's lined up right with the teeth on the bottom. Sometimes it goes crooked. Make sure it's in there right. And there's some grooves in there where your cylinder. Just make sure you push it down. Make sure it's locked in. Okay, next, your gears. Spare gear. Shut up about my bushings. I'm getting new ones soon. Sector gear. Put it so it's the metal piece right there is away from this and it's not touching the piston at all. Then finally well, actually hold off on that. Slide your spring in there and get this ready. Spring guide and spring. Okay. Now get your anti-reversal latch. Put the spring on there. Put it onto the little hole it's meant to go. Make sure it works. Put it there. Hold it back. Put it in the bevel gear. If it pops out on you, your spring's probably too strong. So just like squeeze or something to weaken it a little bit. Get your top half prepared for the shell. Put those bushings on. Okay. Now here's probably the hardest part. Just putting it all back together. I recommend doing the triggers last. Once the shell's actually on, just makes it a little bit easier later on. Okay. And I recommend also going front first. Then pushing the spring guide in. If you have some mega screwed spring, it's going to be like impossible to push that in. So good luck. Then it may take you a while to line everything up right, but make sure it squeezes all together. If it's not squeezing all together, something's not lined up. Okay. Next, I recommend putting this little clip back on just to hold everything together. Okay, then you want to get the trigger and whatever that thing's called. Just push it in, line up on the pins, open the gearbox slightly, and it should just be able to push it in there. And not going right. Okay. Screw everything back together now. And wrong way. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. It's not Japan. Put this black thing back on. I don't have no clue what it's called. It's what the Allen screw goes into in the back of the gun behind the stock. And also I have the two flat screws for the motor. One's flatter, the flatter one goes in front. Okay, time for the safety. I believe if you have the screw right here, it doesn't really need to come off, but it's better just to let me show you anyways. Some people are stupid. Mostly Drew. And what am I forgetting? Oh yeah, this black thing. Most people don't even have this thing. I guess it stops the trigger from hitting the gears, but that shouldn't really be a problem if you did it right. Put the wires back on. And you are done. Have fun.